Hi, it's Caroline, and I'm here just to share with you a little of my thoughts about bipolar. So today I just got the quick inspiration to talk about how we might actually choose to be bipolar. Now, I'm not saying we choose it in this life, going, I know, I'll act a bit funky and hurt everyone around me and act a bit crazy and suffer. What I'm saying is, in the eyes of spiritual beliefs or understanding, shall we say, and I say understanding rather than just belief because we can kind of choose a belief with our head, but it comes from a reaction, whereas an understanding, how I feel things, is if it resonates to me, like it doesn't create this like, that's something that I think that makes sense to me. And I've always had this idea about reincarnation when I was a kid. So if you've read any of my posts or my blog or listened to my videos, there's always a little bit of a hint of that. And so a healer that I visited last year said, you've got it wrong, because I was really like, oh, bipolar isn't a thing, it's more an emotional imbalance. And I thought when I did a lot of healing and cleared out my kind of backlog, if you like, then I won't be bipolar anymore. And that kept me going for quite some time, and it gave me a lot of courage to think, no, I've got to keep going on this healing journey and I can get rid of bipolar. And he said, no, to a degree, you've got it right, that if you clear out the emotions, you no longer will have the massive ups and downs, because a lot of that is coming from a trauma. So your kind of reactionary, like, ego patterns take over, so you don't feel you're hurt. It's like protective, but then it builds up and then you get your highs and your lows. But he said you still have bipolar. It's his guides, like when you're connected with your guides, you get kind of ascended masters and angels and stuff that help you, or just like people like me and you that passed over, that have wisdom, that they want to tell you. We've all got them, but a lot of us obviously don't believe it, realise it, know how to access it. Anyway, he said, they're telling me you really do have bipolar and it is a physical thing. And within the context of this spiritual understanding that I chose to be born as Caroline. I chose to be as tall as I am, to be a bit funky in the way that I see the world, as in a bit out of the box. I chose that for my own soul path development. And the idea is, with reincarnation, you go back to spirit, where we're all kind of, in an energetic form, and you choose to come to be a human again, to learn, to progress yourself, to undo karma, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to go into all of that. There is, Buddhism, Hindu, more of the world probably believes in reincarnation that doesn't. It's the West that has no, connection to this, or, the dominant society in the West. So going back to bipolar and why would we choose it? I had that insight a little while ago. Well, of course I chose it because it disrupted my life so much that I had to seek, I had to look. And I mean, I was always a seeker. I started doing yoga at 16 and kind of lots of it made sense. And I started reading different bits and bobs, but I didn't have the internet so much back then. So, the access to the books, but I was always kind of questioning, like, what's going on in life? What is this? What is this? And in a sense, the depth of my high and low has really helped me get an understanding firsthand of how people suffer. When you're high or when you're low, when you're psychosis, what does that mean? And a lot of it, I believe, is emotional. It's seen through a veil. If you think you see hallucinations of an angel, it probably is an angel. Psychiatrically, that's an illusion, a delusion, psychotic. But in the spiritual world, great, you can see stuff. You're clairvoyant. Choose your paradigm and you'll choose how you look at it. And the more at peace and the more strength that I come into, the more I'm happy to say, obviously, to the public, i.e. anyone that might see this video on YouTube, is, everything that happens in our life, we don't consciously choose it, because why would you choose to suffer, right? But we're subconsciously bringing to us things that help us learn for our highest benefit. And if you can turn things around, rather than going, poor me, that moody man in the shop, he was horrible. Turn it round. I mean, a lot of this is paraphrasing stuff, so I watched Matt Kahn like over the last year. He's really helped me as a guide. But this is stuff that I knew, I just didn't put into practice in quite the same way. And he's kind of summed up a lot of the old-fashioned spiritual teachings and put it into a bit of a more realistic context. So yeah, I really urge you to check out Matt Kahn. True Divine Nature is his website.com. But, you know, any spiritual teaching, it's going to be saying the same thing. Essentially, we're a spiritual being. We choose our form to come into just to have an experience of life again in this 3D world. It's not saying it's not real. It's just saying there's other stuff to it. So like we have a spirit up here and we're like the avatar, the puppet, if you like. And the more work you do to clear out the old backlog of stuff, trauma, emotions, you kind of clear out your channel. And if you choose it, and you have to consciously choose this stuff, you know, make the choice, I want to connect with my higher self, you get insights and messages. I get a lot of, if I wake up in the middle of the night, like, oh, you got to do this, you got to do this. Anyway, I'm digressing yet again. The simplicity of what I'm saying today is, if you can look at life in a completely different way for a while and just say, actually, yeah, okay, I would have loved to have the perfect wife, blah, 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 fine. But actually, look at people that have that. They're actually usually the most arrogant, self-centered, not so nice people. And I know spiritually, they're beautiful beings like me and you, but the arrogance of, hey, look what I've got, it all becomes a bit of a badge and it's really ego. Oh, whatever you call it, okay, it's not a judgment to them. Hey, I still am like, have these, oh, I'd like to get that house because that's what we think is successful. But when you look deeper into your soul, just getting those superficial things on the outside, it doesn't serve you to be more loving, you know. And in the end, that's what we all want, right? We want to be loved, we want to be loving, we want to live in a beautiful world. And if you don't want that, okay, you sit with that, that's your choice. But that's, for me, as you know, growing up, it's like, can't we all just be loving and just love everyone, you know, make every new person we come across a new friend, because we're all family, right? We're all humans. So, you know, if you can look and say, what have I gained from being bipolar? The insights, it's like I used to mix up hospital, and I say, oh, when I was in uni, and I have to say, oh, when I was in hospital. And it's a Freudian slip, but it's so true, because I learned so much being in hospital. It's bloody humbling having to be looked after when you're an adult and go, my God, I'm actually struggling in life. But also the rest of the insight. So when we can take a little bit of responsibility for how we see it, not just I'm a suffering victim of bipolar, why me, but okay, it's happened, fact. Maybe this is for my highest good, and maybe all of those weird insights I got when I was high, if you can peel away it's out here of the box of your reality and go, maybe it's part of a bigger picture that I didn't see yet. You know, you get a lot of gifts then of insight. And it's your choice, you know, there's no one else I can't tell you what lessons you're going to learn or you have learned or you should learn. There's no should, it's your pace and your choice. But you know, anything that happens that you deem as bad is another chance to be compassionate to another person, to trust in life, to trust that it's all okay. Hard to say. If you don't believe in an afterlife, I get it. You don't want to lose this life because it's fun, right? But then most people's lives, they're not that happy anyway, so why wouldn't you? I'm excited to see what's on the other side, not wishing it on myself, but it's like, whoa, there's a whole other realm out there, right? And we're in this 3D world. So I invite you, you know, ask yourself some questions about the bigger meanings in life and put yourself, your spirit, your life into that context rather than the X Factor, perfect life, what's on TV, what's normal. There is no normal, you know, that's just propaganda from the TV. Take yourself out of that and look at the bigger context. Anyway, that's me for today. It was going to be a short one, but it wasn't, never mind. Blessings to you. I just invite you to love yourself more, you know, and don't beat yourself up. And try and just keep looking outside the box and look for another way. Okay, blessings, love you.